You feel a little rush of pleasure when you get a like, a comment, a thumbs up. It seems natural, harmless. But what if I told you that this pleasure is intentionally manipulated? That it's not a spontaneous product of your brain, but of an invisible design that understands you better than you understand yourself. What you're about to discover today may make you uneasy, because what seems like just social interaction is actually programmed neural conditioning. Studies from Harvard University have found that social media likes activate the nucleus accumbens of the brain, the same region stimulated by the use of substances like cocaine and nicotine. The feeling of pleasure you get from receiving a like isn't just social, it's biochemical, it's addictive. And this isn't a metaphor, it's literally happening to you right now. You may not realize it, but your brain is being rewired drop by drop, like by like. Your brain's reward system, which was shaped by millions of years of evolution to ensure your survival, is now being hijacked by digital platforms that understand how to manipulate dopamine. Every like, every heart, every comment triggers a microdose of pleasure that your system interprets as a sign of social approval. But here's the trick. Algorithms don't deliver these rewards constantly. They dole out likes intermittently, like a casino hands out chips to an addicted gambler. You never know when the next one will come, and that's exactly what keeps you hooked. This model is known as variable reinforcement, the same one used in slot machines. It works like this. Sometimes you get a reward, sometimes you don't. And this unpredictability is what makes the cycle so compulsive. You refresh your feed, expect a like. Refresh again, nothing. Refresh again, 2 likes. And your brain responds like a lab rat pulling a lever expecting food. This is not accidental, it is engineering, it is deliberate behavioral manipulation. The Stanford Neuroscience Institute published an alarming study showing that heavy social media use leads to the desensitization of dopamine receptors. In other words, the more you seek the quick and easy pleasure of likes, the less sensitive your brain becomes to natural rewards like deep conversations, real connections, personal achievements. You become an emotionally dulled version of yourself, always seeking the next click, always waiting for the next heart, but never truly satisfied. And all the while your attention span plummets. Have you ever noticed how hard it is to focus on a single book, a conversation, a long thought? That's not your fault, it's a side effect. A graph published by the University of Michigan shows that since 2012, the average attention span has dropped from 12 seconds to less than 8. In other words, the average human being now has less focus than a goldfish. And even knowing this, you continue. Why? Because the system has learned to trap you emotionally. The MIT Media Lab has done extensive research on how algorithms identify and manipulate emotions. They found that based on your reactions, dwell time, and micro-interactions like pausing a video or hesitating to swipe on a post, the system understands in real time how you're feeling, and based on that, it decides what to show you next. If you're sad, it shows you something that validates you. If you're angry, it adds fuel to the fire with polarizing content. If you're happy, it reinforces that with something even more pleasurable. The goal isn't to inform you, it's to keep you engaged, spinning, interacting, reacting. This emotional manipulation has already been tested in practice. In 2012, Facebook conducted a psychological experiment with almost 700,000 users without their explicit consent. They changed some people's news feeds to show predominantly positive content, and others to show mostly negative content. The result was clear. Users' moods changed according to what they saw. In other words, platforms don't just understand how you feel, they can change how you feel. This experiment was real, it was documented. And even after the backlash, no major platform took any real responsibility. Because for them, this is not a mistake. It is a business model. But the darkest point is yet to come. Because even when you realize something is wrong, you keep going. The University of California, Irvine revealed that most people touch their cell phones more than 150 times a day. Many times without any specific purpose. It's an automatic gesture, a reflex. You're in the elevator, you pull out your cell phone. You're waiting for someone, you unlock the screen. You wake up first thing, social media. You go to bed last thing, feed. This repetitive behavior is exactly what the product engineers at the big platforms wanted. And they got it. They applied principles of behavioral psychology developed by the likes of B.F. Skinner, the father of operant conditioning, to create habits that form silently. You don't realize you're trapped, because the prison is invisible and comfortable. Now think about it. How many times have you found yourself scrolling through your feed without even remembering why? How many times have you gone from one app to another, and then gone back to the first one, as if something new had just popped up? This is called the reward loop. Your brain has been trained to believe that there can be something new, something pleasurable, something exciting, if you just refresh. One more time, just one more time. Always just one more time. Meanwhile, your perception of reality begins to distort. You only see other people's perfect moments, their trips, their sculpted bodies, their happy relationships, and you compare that to your real life, full of doubts, delays, and imperfections. And what happens? Your dopamine system suffers. You feel inferior, incomplete, unsatisfied. But instead of disconnecting, you seek more validation. You post more. You wait for likes. You wait for dopamine. The cycle feeds back. Chamath Palihapitiya, Facebook's former vice president of growth, has publicly confessed, "We have created tools that are destroying the social fabric of society." He said he feels guilty, that he has stopped using social media, and that he does not allow his children to use it. Sean Parker himself, Facebook's first president, also said that the platform exploits a vulnerability in human psychology. According to him, Facebook was built to consume as much time and conscious attention as possible. And he knew this from the beginning. If even the creators admit the risk, why do we still ignore it? Because there is something stronger than rational knowledge: emotional conditioning. Knowing that something is bad is not enough to stop, because the addiction is already in place. And the more time we spend on these platforms, the harder it becomes to disconnect. But what if the problem goes even deeper? What if your entire digital identity, all your decisions, preferences, and emotions, were already part of a database that knows exactly how to persuade you? Harvard researcher Shoshana Zuboff calls this surveillance capitalism. The idea is simple but terrifying. Your emotions are monetized, your behavior patterns are sold, your psychological profile is refined with every click, and we're not talking about random ads, we're talking about personalized manipulation. Need to make a decision? The platform already knows what type of content will influence you. Are you thinking about buying something? It already knows which image will convince you. Are you going to vote? It already knows which fear will mobilize you. This is no longer a world of information, it is a world of control. And at the center of it all is the like. Small, harmless, but with a silent, destructive power. The secret behind likes is that they weren't meant to connect you. They were meant to program you, and little by little, disconnect you from yourself, from your focus, from your autonomy, from your own natural dopamine. With every like you receive, there's an invisible chain being reinforced, a prison being decorated as if it were freedom, but deep down, it's still a prison. Comment, "I knew it," if you already suspected this. And if you really want to take back control over your mind, activate the bell. Because in the next video, I will reveal how to escape this cycle. But I'll tell you in advance, the method you'll learn next week will shock you even more.